News of the day over at Halas Hall, where championships are built over in Chicago. Ben Johnson was introduced and met the media for his opening press conference. And Strofe, I don't know, do you have this? We have not communicated. This is on me. Do you have Ben Johnson ready to go? Wonderful. True professional I am. Kyle Wallace has not heard anything from Ben Johnson's press conference down in Chicago. So here was Ben Johnson at media press conferencing opening day.
3 teams that made the playoffs this year. I've got tremendous amount of respect for the coaches and the players in this league. Having competed against them for the last 6 years. Dan Campbell, Kevin O'Connell, you're talking about 2 guys that are up for Coach of the Year awards as the season ends here. And to be quite frank with you, I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
Kyle, you laugh like he did.
Oh my gosh, here we go again. Are we doing this again?
There were crickets in that press room.
Because they've seen this broken record. They heard this stupid joke. It's over and over and over. This is the press conference to talk about.
Didn't Lovie Smith do this? I just want to beat the Packers.
They all talk about the Green Bay Packers. My good, why are we always on your mind when y'all are hiring a new coach? What is it when they go through the interview? Through the interview process, do they ask them, what's your scheme? What's your leadership style? How do you feel about beating the Green Bay Packers? Like, they make sure that is like a requirement. Why every time they have a press conference or a new player, Caleb Williams
he thought he nailed that, by the way.
He thought he was so smooth.
He had it all planned out. This man literally took time. He said, honey, let me try this on you here. I'm going to talk about, how good Dan Campbell is and how good Kevin O'Connell is. And then when I'm going to hit him with it, I love beating Matt LaFleur. And so that's what I just don't understand. This is why this franchise is where they're at. Instead of focusing on trying to become champions, they always want to talk about beating the Green Bay Packers. When Matt LaFleur came, I don't think he said anything about beating the Chicago Bears. He may say, I'm going to continue to beat these teams, but he ain't bragging about or chasing after the Chicago Bears. That is the Bears' problem. They more focused on beating the third-place team in the NFC North than actually trying to win a Super Bowl. He's going to be a failure. He's going to be a failure because
no. All of Chicago saying he won the opening press conference.
Oh my gosh.
I could have won the opening press conference. I could have dressed up as somebody else and said, we're going to beat those stupid Packers. We love you. They need to focus on something other than the Green Bay Packers, the third-place team in the NFC North. They need to focus on trying to actually win a championship. They need to get rid of this old story, this old
No. Why are we giving the keys to the?
He's gonna fail because when they lose to the Green Bay Packers, everybody's going to say, oh, no, he was supposed to be our savior. When they get swept by the Green Bay Packers next year, they're going to say, we won 7 games, but we couldn't beat those Packers. They're going to be more focused on beating the Packers and making the playoffs. I'm telling y'all this right now. Just like with Caleb Williams, where they made a mistake by crowning him as the king. He gets drafted, and they crowned him as the king. They allowed for him to tell the punter, who was the punter we all liked, the dude from Iowa?
Tory Taylor.
He ain't going to need to use that leg much. Man, listen. Tory Taylor punted so damn much for that football team this year. And so, like I said, we just need to have the Chicago Bears need to simmer down, calm down, and focus on winning 1 week at a time. Don't focus on, beating the Green Bay Packers. Focus on trying to win the NFC North. This team is a joke.
Yeah, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of the players, right? Because I underwent a coaching change when I played for the Jaguars. So I'm trying to think if I was a Chicago Bear. And all of a sudden, I'm watching Ben Johnson's press conference. They're watching it in the same way we are, right? It's not like the coach gets accessibility to the players. The players are all over the country at this point. So the players are watching Ben Johnson as well. And if it were me, first of all, we heard the audio of it. Do yourself a favor, KBN Nation, watch the video of it.
He's a dork.
He's a dork. He says the line, I sure enjoy beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. He smiles and looks right to left, waiting for someone to laugh at him. It was a pathetic show of comedic timing. He thought he was going to be so funny, so tough, but he came off as he's having no swag, no ability to lead men. If I was a player, I'd be like, what the heck are we talking about? Like, this is such a bad first impression. If
better be an evil genius because trying to be this tough, funny, like he's trying to thread the needle on being everything.
Yeah, he is, and you got to be yourself. And if that's who he is, like sort of dad jokes, bad timing, and puns, he's not going to connect with the players.
Isn't that what you are?
Yeah, and it takes one to know one. And I'm like, I look at that, I'm like, you are just like this square punter right here. You are not going to be able to be a leader of men. Maybe I'm wrong, but like it was a strange initial press conference. There's a lot to like about Ben Johnson with structure and scheme and all that kind of stuff. But if you're trying to captivate men, that's a really strange way to start doing it.
Strofe, I'd love to hear it again. And if you can see it on YouTube at ESPN Milwaukee and at ESPN Madison, Strofe has it for you to watch his eyes, right? As Brad says, he looks left, he looks right. He's kind of doing this like weird smile. Like, does everyone think this is funny? Here's Ben Johnson trying to win his opening presser.
I know this is the toughest division of football right now. There's 3 teams that made the playoffs this year. I've got tremendous amount of respect for the coaches and the players in this league. Having competed against them for the last 6 years. Dan Campbell, Kevin O'Connell, you're talking about 2 guys that are up for Coach of the Year awards as the season ends here. And to be quite frank with you, I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
I mean, what do the kids say? Cringe? It's cringe. It is totally cringe when you got a guy up there that's talking like that.
All right, I want to see if this one resonates with any of you guys, but it feels like
I'm watching a delay of his response, and he's just laughing and smiling.
Yeah.
It was so painful.
It feels like, look, the valedictorian, when they gave the speech, he's just a dorky nerd trying to connect with people right now. And it's just like, look, you're a dorky nerd that watches films and comes up with creative plays. You're not that guy.
Yeah,
it's like how we make fun of Goody and Mark Murphy with the media because like they're just not. They're not those guys.
Yeah, see, Dan Campbell was able to.
He's been locked in a freaking room in Detroit watching film for 3 years, and now like, hey, go give a press conference. He's not made for this.
Because when you think of like other really, really, really intelligent playmakers that have made it work, dude, they got some swag. Think of McVay. Think of Kevin O'Connell. Even Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur might not be tough in the traditional sense, but he's got a little bit of charisma. He's got a little bit of swag.
He does.
Mike McDaniel in Miami.
Oh, he got some swag.
These guys are offensive masterminds, but they're not uptight. They're not square. They got some swag. Ben Johnson, man, this is coming from a guy that has no swag.
You're tighter than Ben Johnson, and he makes you look like you have more rhythm than, I don't know, Michael Jackson.
And that's saying something. So, I mean, look, he's going to have to really hire some meatheads and some, like, leaders of men on, like, offensive and defensive position coaches because he ain't going to do it. He ain't going to inspire guys to go out there and play the way the guys played for Dan Campbell.
Yeah, but you would think after being around Dan Campbell, he would have got some type of toughness that he would have learned.
Yeah, but you can't fake who you really are.
Dan Campbell's just being himself.
Yeah, and so Dan Campbell, the way he would have delivered that message, you definitely would have been like, okay, it's go time. But what he just did, you can just tell we're occupying real estate in his mind. Like he understands that the task of being a Bears coach is winning, right? Is winning, not football games, is beating the Green Bay Packers. That is your Super Bowl. I bet you the Chicago Bears would be happy if they swept the Packers every year and never win a Super Bowl. And the Packers win a Super Bowl during that time, you know what they say? Well, we still beat the Packers twice this year. They don't care about that, man. I think they unfortunately know that they're not a winning organization and their goals aren't winning championships, it's beating the Green Bay Packers. So congratulations, you beat the Packers with
I don't know you guys, but I can listen to that clip over and over and over, and I can just feel the awkwardness. It's so good. It's so good. It's so Bears. It's so everything.
It is.
It's their opening presser. They're screaming to the high heavens, we got our guy. And they did the same song and dance that everyone else does. He, like Kyle said, prepared a speech. Hey, honey, what do you think of this line? Oh, you're going to nail it. Didn't nail it.
No, and they never do, man. It's unfortunate for the Chicago Bears is that the Bears, just something about that organization just reeks of can't get it right.
Even his suit. He's wearing navy blue with the white shirt and orange tie.
It's like a bad comb over. There's just like, there's no charisma there. There's none. And you don't have to necessarily have it, but the job's going to get challenging. I just can't believe because this will be the easiest moment they'll ever have on the podium, right? Because it's going to be followed by questions, tough losses, things like that. So he had just a blank canvas to say anything he wanted to say, to really the first thing of setting the culture and the tone for his tenure for the Chicago Bears. And he makes this
he made it easy for us. We already know what sound clip we can play as soon as we open the show. The Monday after the Bears play the Packers on a Sunday in the NFL season, Strofe will come into Kyle Bruston-Ortman and he'll have the, I really love beating Matt LaFleur twice. And it's going to be part of a montage of highlights of Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers taking it to the Bears as they always have.
As the season ends here. And to be quite frank with you, I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
To be quite frank with you, I mean, seriously.
You know it's bad when Brad's making fun of somebody. When dorky stiff Brad is calling somebody out, that's bad.
Well, to be quite frank with you, fellas.
He was so proud of that line.
He was. Well, in the way
each segment, each of us need to be quite frank with each other, okay?
Yeah. And if you want to call out the Packers, man, do it with some toughness.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, be like, I'm sick and tired of that green and gold. It disgusts me to look at them. I can't wait to bring it to them every single year and sweep them.
Oh, also, you're taking credit? You were the OC. You weren't the head coach.
Yeah.
You were part of it. You weren't the guy. You're now the guy. And you're the guy that has set himself up for the ultimate. When they lose to the Packers, this guy said he wasn't going to lose to the Packers.
Yeah, and what I love about this day is that every about 3-4 years, we go through the tradition, right? Sometimes every 4 years you have a presidential election.
Tradition.
And every 4 years you have about 2 to 4 years you have a new head coach press
and 18
conference.
Offensive coordinators.
Yeah, you always for the Chicago Bears. Matt Eberflus probably came in, said the same thing, and talked about what his football team was going to look like. But what was the result? Losses. And Ben Johnson, even though he has Caleb Williams as the quarterback, who we think Caleb Williams may be an okay quarterback, until this organization figures it out, like they clean house and probably sell the football team, they're going to go through the exact same cycle of level of excitement. Football season comes, they start losing, then they're saying, oh no, is Caleb Williams that good? Oh, Caleb Williams is the problem, draft a new quarterback, bring in a new quarterback, then all of a sudden he sucks, then they fire the coach, and then we're back here. I'm telling y'all, well, I'll see y'all in 2028.
All right, to move past, which I'll have to hear this audio again because it's so cringeworthy, I love it. I want to spin the block. Kyle, can you please explain what spin the block means?
Yeah, spin the block means, say you're dating somebody, right? You guys are in a relationship.
Well, let me say, I don't want to spin the block in my personal life. I'm happily engaged and have a...
Be more like Brad.
Typically, spin the block means you break up with somebody, and then all of a sudden you kind of see them on social media, and maybe they like one of your little posts. And then you say,
You're back home for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you say, you know what, let me go ahead and hit her
Sounds like you got some experience over
Go
here.
ahead, hit her up, see what she's doing. And when you hit her up and you go back to her, you're spinning the block. And most of the time when you spin the block, you realize you should have stayed home.
Well, I don't know if in this scenario I want to stay home. I think I want to spin the block and create a relationship with this person.
You going out the night before Thanksgiving?
Let me tell you who I want to spin the block with next.